Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jess Marshall podcast. Thanks for joining me this week. This week I've got the privilege, and I'm super stoked to have my buddy, Chef Scott Gerling, on the show. Chef Scott and I know each other from Rugby. He's a very interesting guy, well-traveled guy, and is passionate about food and is starting a restaurant. So we're going to talk about everything from entrepreneurship to overcoming the adversity of COVID, especially with restaurants and food service over the last year, and I hope you enjoy it. I think you will. Have you done a podcast before?
No, I've definitely not one on video. I've done just where they can't see you.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody always asks me if it's live, and I'm like, well, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be way more nervous. I mean, we don't really edit very much, but
That's good, though.
I just feel like, there's more room for error.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people on here before who wanted to hear it before it went.
Really?
Before it got
I
dropped.
get zero fucks. Just fucking roll it, man.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll see. Sure. Here you go. It's the unlisted. So we dropped it on YouTube, sent them the unlisted. And they're like, okay, I'm good.
As long as I don't go off the rails, I don't care.
Well, we have booze in the other room if we get you started on that. I always ask people off air, but since we're bros, is there anything you don't want to talk about today?
No.
No?
No. Unleash.
How about them Lions?
Let's leave that one off.
Okay. Yeah, man. How long have I known you? Since 2000?
Yeah, about that. Probably about 2004.
Was it 04?
Yeah. Because I moved to Texas in 2000, but I didn't really come out to Denton until about 04.
Gotcha. And you moved here from where?
From Minnesota. Why is that in Minnesota?
Where is your Minnesota accent?
It disappeared when I moved down here.
Really?
Man, first week I was down here, I just got so much shit that I just had to drop it. It was brutal.
You had to make like a conscious effort not to say being a boat organization.
It was bad. First day in college, professor picks on me and accent comes out and everybody's just like laughing. Where are you from? Yeah, it was brutal.
God. Why'd you come down here from up there?
So my parents moved down here. My dad was working down here through my senior year, and then we came down afterwards. And I actually was going to try and play football at UNT, but then, just couldn't sit through classes.
Yeah.
And then I started playing rugby, and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Rugby's so much better than football.
It's like it's not even in the same stratosphere as football. Football is so fucking boring. It's insane.
Yeah.
How'd you discover rugby?
I actually played in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I started playing when I was 17. I think I was a junior in high school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that rugby was anything in Minnesota.
Yeah, it had just started. I think there was about 8 or 10 teams back then, and we didn't even have one for our school. It was just kind of the city next to us, and we all started playing. But some guy I went to high school with was like, hey, man, why don't you come play rugby in the off season from football? And I was like, do I hit people? He's like, yeah. I was like, sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, no doubt.
So,
I mean, you can't beat that.
no.
I mean, the first time I played rugby, I was like, well, hold on. So no one's going to jail after this. Man. Yeah.
I was
I'll be back.
played D-line in football, and the guy was like, you get to carry the ball. And I was like, sign me up, man. Living the dream.
Man, no doubt. Were you gonna try to play D-line at North Texas?
I actually lost a bunch of weight after high school. And I've always been, not to toot my own horn, but I've always been pretty quick. And I got a lot faster. So I was probably going to try playing linebacker or fullback.
Yeah.
And then, I went to the walk-ons and just wasn't my cup of tea, man.
Yeah.
So.
Who was the coach then?
Dickie.
Still Dickie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dickie wearing his furniture warehouse hat at the New Orleans Bowl and stuff.
Running the old dive play up the middle.
Yeah.
The Dickie draw.
Weren't those the Brad Castle years then? Right? And Spencer Cody. And yeah, man. Wow. The good old days.
Yeah.
When everything was much simpler.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know what masks were then. What got you into the whole chefing stuff? You always just been interested in that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I kind of picked it up in high school when we were, man, this is going to date me, when they had the old consumer science classes. Yeah. And, you know, we cooked a bit. And
You're younger than me, man. Yeah. You're fine.
By a year, I think. 2 years, but.
Maybe.
Yeah. Kind of got into it then, but never made much of it because I always said I was going to go to college. And then college, I kind of fell into the bar scene where I was bartending and it was great money, but shit, I didn't want to go to class the next morning, you know. So after college didn't pan out, I was, you know, talking to my girlfriend, who is now my wife, and I was like, man, I think I want to go to culinary school. Like,
right.
You know, I like cooking. This was during the big, you know, Food Network boom, and you know, back then I was so naive. I was like, you know, I'm going to be a TV chef or whatever, and went to culinary school in 2012, 11, and then, you know, kind of worked around restaurants in Dallas, and finally got the big break at the Grape, and
yeah,
place was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Legendary.
R.I.P. the Grape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big break. Mm-hmm. What was that process like?
I had been in a couple of restaurants. You know, I went to school in Italy and worked in Italy for a bit, and then got back and worked in a couple of restaurants, then got back into bartending just for the money for a bit. And, you know, saw that they were hiring a sous chef and sent a resume, had an interview. Got interviewed by Sarah Snow, now Sarah Chastain. And she actually used to come out to the bars that I was working at, so we kind of knew each other a little bit. But yeah, she gave me the break.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. So you started culinary school, and then was it after you had completed that you went overseas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And was that just I want to expand my horizons type thing?
Yeah, I've always kind of been into the Italian cooking, and just, I mean, you know, I have family that's Italian. And just, it always fascinated me, especially with like fresh pasta and, you know, just how they go about food over there, and, you know, the ingredients and everything coming straight from the gardens and stuff like that, and just fascinated me. So where were you the first time? Because I know you've been over a couple times. Mm-hmm. Where were you the first time? When I went to school, I went to the Italian Culinary Institute, and that's in Calabria. So like the toe of the
Have boot. You seen 000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ah, awesome.
So it's in Calabria, and we were kind of stationed there, but we went to Sicily a couple times and stuff like that. And then I worked around a little bit in Calabria, came back. When we went back the last time, we started in Bologna, and I, you know, worked at a couple places, just drove all the way down to Italy, like stopping at various cities, you know, working with people if I could work with people, but otherwise just eating our way through.
That's
Italy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get any rugby in while you were there?
No, not the first time, or not the second time, but the first time I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get Sergio Parise's autograph?
No.
Martin Castro Giovanni?
No.
I was talking to Taylor Mokate one time about Castro, and he said that they played them when Taylor got his cap for the U.S. in Houston. I was trying to go to that match. He said that was the hardest he ever got hit in his football or rugby career, and he played at OU. Was by Castro.
That dude's a monster.
He is, man. Did you ever hear that story about how after an Italy-France game at the Social, him and Chabal got into a full-on brawl?
I just see hair just flying everywhere.
Both of them. Because one of them was hitting on the other one's, like, significant other. So the other one was like, okay, cool deal, man. I'm going to break your face now. And they're both crazy. When people ask me, rugby, I don't know anything about rugby, I always send them Chabal highlight video. I'm like, here, watch this. They're like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, yeah, man. See when he broke Ollie Williams' face by tackling him when they were
I do Rennie Ranger. I'm like, go watch his highlight reel and see if you want to get run over by him.
No doubt, man. What the first time you were there and you got to play, was it Was it a good time?
It was actually, because it was off season, so we were just playing touch. But it was,
right on.
I mean, it was definitely faster moving than here.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of guys out there. I mean, they had about 4 touch matches going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Didn't Paul Emmerich play for Overmock Parma for a long time? That's like where he was for the first like part of his pro career.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, rugby.
Yeah.
Did we ever play together at North Texas? I don't think so.
No, just in alumni matches, I think.
So alumni matches, and then we played together at the Quins.
Yeah.
And now you still play some.
I'm done now.
I'm completely done.
Yeah.
I've been concussed 1 or 20 too many times.
I talked about coming back this year, and I think my wife would probably divorce me if
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, for sure. I think that my family would disown me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, man, you got a shoulder hanging on there with a zip tie. So you do you, Jess. That's probably what would come back if I said that. Yeah, my first great rugby injury, and the crew here always makes fun of me because I talk about the shoulders all the time, was in a North Texas alumni
I remember
match,
that, actually.
because why not?
I think you scored a try on it too, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean, hey, who's counting?
Got to go for the glory and the light.
Yes, absolutely. Was that the year I broke Cole's sternum with my head? I don't know, man.
I'll follow up on that one.
Yeah. Sorry, Cole. Yeah, man. The going overseas to learn stuff though. Are you fluent in Italian?
No.
Can you get around?
I can get around.
Yeah.
I understand it for the most part. You can definitely tell when they're mad at you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You don't even have to speak the language.
Oh, they're real expressive, like the French. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just as far as food goes, I can definitely, if they tell me to go grab something, I know what they're talking about.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But as far as just such a complex language because of, you could go to one town and they'll say something, but it means totally different, half a block down the street.
Yeah.
So, the dialects and everything.
Adding that to your resume, that's a big thing when you're...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's, especially when you say you make fresh pasta and they say where you learn and you say Italy, it's kind of a gold star movie at the head of the class type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
the culinary school that you went to here, which was that the one that's local?
Yeah, it's in Fort Worth Culinary School.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
the one that's on 635.
No, I don't even think that's around anymore.
Yeah, you might be right. 635 in like Josie.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
That was a year process. There's different courses you can do, like if you just wanted to do pastry and stuff like that, but I kind of wanted the broad spectrum because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went in there. So I don't even remember what it was called, but it's a full year. You're doing the savory side, you're doing pastry side, you're doing the business side. They kind of teach you it all. So
did Gordon Ramsay come in there at all and
cuss
you out?
There were a couple knucklehead chefs from Fort Worth.
Yeah,
I'm not going to name names, but came in bumping chest. And
nobody watches this.
Yeah.
You can name all the names. Name the names.
I'm kind of peers with a couple of them now. So
I got you. Yeah. So don't you think that people don't understand what it takes to be a top flight chef?
100%.
They're just like, oh, Guy Fieri looks like a funny dude who makes cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
That must be easy.
I mean, it's like the majority of people that think they're a top level chef aren't. Like I can say right now, I'm not. I know quite a bit, but there's hundreds of people just in the area that know more than I do. So that's why I always tell these kids when they're coming in from culinary school, like either to stage or to work, I'm just like, leave the ego at the door. You don't know more than anybody, And I made that mistake when I first came out of culinary school,
Were you arrogant, bro?
I mean, just a little bit. But I mean, these kids come in like hot shit,
Yeah.
I read a book and, I can cook everything, but there's so many little things that they don't know, that you pick up on
Sure.
the way.
Yeah, I mean, what does the everyday person who cooks at home a lot not understand about preparing food? Is it the heats at which most things need to be prepared to bring the flavors out in them?
Man, it's everything.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, my wife hates cooking for me. I don't, she's a great cook. I never critique her or anything. The only thing I might critique her on is I always do this, like needs a little salt. But,
Right.
I mean, it's just, I think the biggest thing is people that cook at home, they're like, oh, I could do this at a restaurant. I'm like, no, you can't. Like, you can't. You got to know how to hold stuff. You got to know, how long something's going to be good for. You've got to teach the people how to cook it for you. You're just scratching the surface there.
When you were at the Grape, how often would they make over the menu? I mean, I know they had some old standbys that were there the entire time.
Yeah, we
like
had
that burger was pretty out of control.
We had a menu that the bistro side of the menu that pretty much stayed the whole time, which there was a salmon, fillets, just stuff like mussels and stuff like that, and then the other side of the menu was changed every month, which was awesome. I mean, that was probably my favorite part working there. Other than the staff that worked there, was just you were constantly evolving and changing things, and just kept it from getting stagnant. And that's what I've done now at Local Pint, is we change the menu constantly. And I think the cooks really enjoy that, and they're definitely learning something all the time.
Sure.
And then that's something we're going to implicate at the next restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even going to have a set menu. Like, we're not putting it on the website. We're not doing any of that because it's going to change constantly. So
that's cool. Like maybe a little more like pub style, where like you show up one day and this is what we're serving. One of these three things type of deal.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just gonna, because we're gonna be working with a lot of small farms, as well as
Awesome.
We're growing some. We have a big plot patio space that we're gonna be growing some stuff. We got some imported Italian varietals and stuff that we're gonna be growing. So it's kind of whatever we have or whatever we're getting in from the farms is what's gonna be on the menu.
That's cool, man. When into your career did you start putting together menus or coming to the table with ideas like, hey, I think we should add this? Or
I mean, that's something that they kind of taught you at culinary school, but at the Grape, it was like day one. Like Sarah and I would sit down, come up with menu ideas, and then we would go meet Chef Brian Lusher over at his place, Lusher Red Hots, and kind of say, this is what we're thinking. He'd say, well, what if we did this, this, and this, or, that sounds good, stuff like that. And it was definitely, I mean, the first few months was a learning process for me as far as how to write those menus, but then after that, it was kind of, you really got the flow, and Sarah and I worked really well with, menu creating and stuff like that.
Sure.
So
is that one of your favorite things about being a chef, is the creative outlet?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I'm a builder, so when I build stuff, you get paid for it, so you can pay your bills. But it's also cool to like see what you built. Is that similar?
100%. Like, I mean, it's kind of like an open canvas. Like when we're changing the menu, you're looking at what the produce companies have in season. What meats are there, and you're just kind of putting. You can just hear the pew, 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 pew. Putting stuff together. And no, it's definitely the fun part of the process.
And so again, as a builder, whenever I'm anywhere in a building, it doesn't matter if it's a residential building, commercial, and I'm always looking for ideas, being like, whoa, that's genius. I never thought of that. Do you have some of the same experiences when you travel or go to different types of restaurants?
For sure. Yeah. So especially now with the social media era, like, I can't tell you how many chefs and stuff I follow, and just, I'm just like, damn, that's cool. Why didn't I ever think about that? And then you're just like, oh, it's because they're way better than I am.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there's just a lot of these chefs, they're all doing the same thing, just different ingredients. And it's pretty cool, like how they're manipulating stuff.
So I thought of you when I was watching another show, I believe it was also on Prime, where they were going around. There was I think there's 9 or 10 episodes. One was about barbecue, and they did it.
Was it Chef's Table?
Maybe where the one guy, they have the restaurant that seats like 8 people up in the mountains in Spain, and he got the Michelin Star.
Yeah, you're probably talking about Chef's Table.
What explain the Michelin Star?
It's basically, I mean, I believe it started off with Michelin, just kind of an advertisement thing, and then they just started picking the nicest restaurants, and goes from there. I mean, there's 3 different stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. And, the fanciest of restaurants are going to get 3, and it's very competitive. And these guys, they work their whole lives to get those stars, and some of them never get them. And it's just crazy how competitive it is, And it's like Uber. For the most part, these Michelin restaurants are like Uber fine dining. We're actually going to California next week for a little anniversary mini vacay, and we're going to a few Michelin Star restaurants.
You go to French Laundry, bro?
No, we're not going
Maskless?
to French Laundry. No.
Get in there, man.
No, but we're going to some really nice restaurants. We're pretty stoked. Yeah.
What part of California?
So we're going to San Fran and Napa.
Yeah. Awesome. Sonoma too?
Yeah, we're going to Sonoma one night to there's a restaurant called Farmhouse Inn. It's basically
nice.
Everything they use at that restaurant is right off the farm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dope.
What's the Thomas Hayden Church went to North Texas, from Wings?
Mm-hmm.
What's the movie with him and Paul Giamatti where they're doing wine tasting? It's like for the bachelor party, and they're in Napa or Sonoma, and they keep going back to the same steak place. You know what I'm talking about? That movie? Really? With Sandra Oh? Well, it's a pretty mediocre movie, but
I'll have to check that one out.
He's at a wine tasting, and Paul Giamatti turns to him and goes, "Are you chewing gum?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. Mint, you want some?" While they're at a wine tasting. Yeah. Lowell from Wings.
Yeah.
For any of you who don't know, that dude's he's a North Texas alum. He's a
Spider-Man
classic.
too.
Yeah, he was. Yep. The episode that I remembered the most was about that tiny restaurant and about the guy who started that. And he had this kid who found this place, which is renowned. I can't remember where in Spain it is, but I thought of you because I was like, Rhino's been over there a couple times learning. I don't think you were ever in Spain, but close enough. But the old man who started this got pissed when they won a Michelin Star.
Yeah.
Because he was, he didn't want to be beholden to the man or whatever, and it caused this huge rift between him and the young upstart who was learning from him. And then that guy left and moved to Australia, and is super successful. But I know it's competitive.
Yeah. There's a lot of, there's at least one chef. I think there's a handful that have said, I don't want the Michelin Star, who's to say that you can say my food's good where, somebody doesn't.
Yeah. So. It's art. You guys are making art.
Yeah.
Right? And some of the most opinionated people in the world are art critics, but also artists. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Get out of my face with that. I don't particularly like it when people look at something I built and they're like, if you'd have gone with that Chip and JoJo shiplap there, I think that would have looked better. I'm like, yeah.
We get that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Food Network doesn't help very much on that either.
No, man. You get it from that, and I get it from the home improvement side. Like, hey, I'd like you to remodel my entire estate in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I can't help you.
I prefer mozzarella on my lasagna. Well, bitch, I gave you bechamel, and that's what you're gonna get. That's how I learned. I prefer it that way.
Is that
don't order it if you don't want it?
Yeah. Is that yes? It's on the menu. What's in the? Is that how you respond to the Yelp review? Then bitch. That's what's on it. That's what you're gonna get.
I'm a little more polite than that most of the
bit?
time. Yeah. I'll throw a fit at the restaurant and say, look what this idiot wrote, or I'd like to Yelp their ass, find out where they work, and return the favor. But
yeah, you want to Yelp them over at Academy or wherever where they're selling sneakers or something. Talk about you sold me a bad sneaker shoelace combo or whatever. Did you see Katy Trail Ice House on Yelp the other day?
Mm-mm.
Somebody was going off about nobody there at Katy Trail Ice House was wearing masks, and obviously
We've had
this
a few
is
of those. Yeah.
This was the opposite of your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Your guy was like, they
Mad
made
'cause
me
we
wear a
were-
mask, and this guy was mad because nobody who was serving food was wearing a mask. And the review world, we can both talk about this with a lot of expertise because it affects the way we do business.
For
Does
sure.
it not?
For sure. I hate the whole review system, period. Because, I mean, for every 100 positive experiences, you're going to have one D-bag that had a bad experience, but it wasn't even a bad experience. They just came in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I really wish that, Yelp and Google and Facebook would review those and just, be like, obviously this is stupid. Like, your review's not going up.
Right.
You wanted 6 ice cubes in your water and you got 5. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
No
doubt. I know my sister, Rachel, she's all famous in Seattle now and stuff. When she first started in the service industry, she would always tell us, you can tell a lot about a person by the way they treat, a bar staff,
Mm-hmm.
wait staff. And, man, you can. Like, I think when I was dating, that was something that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
If I was out with someone and they would treat the waiter or the bartender like a second-rate citizen. Are most people around here pretty friendly, or is it just one of these deals where you do run into the...
I mean, you always run into those clowns,
Yeah.
but I think for the most part, everybody's cool around here.
You got a thick skin because you've had to put up with
Yeah.
drunk college kids for a long time in the bars.
Yeah, but I was normally drunk with them. So.
Yeah. That always helps.
Sorry, TABC.
Like I said, nobody watched this.
Just kidding. I'm still waiting on my license.
Yeah. That's a tough thing, right? Getting the liquor license for the... And what are the ins and outs there? You can serve what? You could serve beer and wine, but you can't serve liquor
there's
without
just
a...
different tier, like the full bar is, liquor, beer, wine. We're just going to be doing beer and wine. We're 1,100 square foot house. There's just no room for a bar. So,
Yeah.
And I mean, the price differentiates between which tier. Obviously, the liquor one's going to be the most expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, beer and wine, it is for us.
What is the rationale when a restaurant does BYOB? They just don't want to mess with that, and then they sell you your
pretty much.
They sell you like your setup or your glass for $10.
The corking fee and everything.
Yeah. Well, how's that work?
I mean, yeah, you nailed it on the head. I think it's just mainly people that don't want to deal with the hassle of TABC and waiting for the license and paying for the license, and sometimes it's storage. Like, there's a couple of restaurants that I've been to that are a little bit smaller than us, and they're like, we don't even have a place to put wine, so that's why we do BYOB. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You've got to sell booze though, right, to make it in the restaurant industry.
Your food better be damn good.
Talk about what this last year has been like in your industry.
Fucking learning experience for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never worked somewhere that we've really done a lot of to-go business, and I mean, we got flipped upside down where that was the majority of our business during the summer. I mean, obviously we were shut down, but it was crazy, like adapting and figuring out a way. We're not really set up to do a lot of to-go food. We're a small kitchen. There's not a lot of space. When you get to-go boxes and they're unfolded, it takes up, half your plating area. So we really had to adapt and figure out how to make it work. But yeah, it was crazy. Like,
were you collaborating with other restaurant owners, or were you just...
I mean, we, some of us like bounced ideas
like
off
bouncing
and
ideas
just said, how are you doing this? And, stuff like that. But for the most part, we were kind of just learning on the fly and figuring out what worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, the people who did adapt to the to-go thing, I think actually did pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that definitely, I'm not going to say saved our ass, but it was huge. I mean, Local Pint, it's crazy how diehard the customers are. Like, best customers, I mean, including the grape. It's just crazy how they supported us. They were if it was buying gift cards or buying crowlers or getting to-go food 2 or 3 times a week, like they really rallied around us and made sure that we weren't going anywhere.
Good.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Creating a fan club.
Yeah.
That's a client base.
Yeah, I think, part of that too is with us at Local Pint, we really, it's almost like we become friends with our customers. Like we're on a first name basis with a lot of them, joke around with a lot of them. You go into some of these restaurants and bars and you could be in there once a week and they still don't know your name. I think that's where we kind of had success with, is just, making sure everybody felt welcome and at home when they were there. And
yeah, got the cheers vibe going.
Yeah, for sure.
Norm.
For
Yeah,
sure.
That's awesome. Well, so much of what we see nowadays is big business taking over, and the personal touch is totally lost.
Absolutely.
And when you do treat someone who is spending money with you with respect, and you treat them in a friendly manner, it makes them it sets you apart. It's part of how you brand yourself.
To the extent of asking them, like, hey, what do you want to see on the menu? What beers? What beers would you like to see coming in? Stuff like that. And I think that really helps. Because they almost feel like they're part of the decision process.
Absolutely, that's genius. Yeah. That is. We ask people what color shingle they want on their roof, but that's about it. I don't know. I don't think people would get into it from the
left-handed door
side.
or right-handed door.
Yeah. Would you like a left in swing or a right in swing? No, collaborating with your clients is a big thing. Do you have like a digital suggestion box?
Not really. It's more personable. Like we'll talk to them and
right.
There's a couple couples, like, so we were doing fresh pasta special every Tuesday. That kind of went crazy. And there were a couple couples that I'd just be like, hey, what kind of pasta you want to see? And,
right.
Stuff like that. So,
don't you think most people have a unrealistic and romantic view of what owning a bar or a restaurant's really all about?
yeah.
Isn't it very, very hard work?
For sure. It's very hard work.
Like brain melt hard work.
It's it's definitely got its glitz and glory, but part of this industry is, I feel like you're always fighting to stay afloat when it comes to like staffing, and that's the hardest part is, you'll either be down a cook or you'll be down a waiter, or, it's just, there's so much competition there's more restaurants now than there have ever been. Even
especially
even
here.
Yeah. So there's so much competition for staffing, that I don't think people realize how difficult it is, A, to find a staff, B, to keep a staff, and C, to make it the best staff that you can have.
Sure. We both played team sports growing up. We understand teamwork. We also understand that was part of what I think drew a lot of us into rugby, is there was a way different dynamic.
For sure.
The camaraderie that's involved with rugby than there was
superstars. Everybody's playing as one.
Yeah, and everyone's very important. When you're putting together your teams, what are you looking for in the people who you're bringing on board? Are you looking for, hey, you got to have experience, or are you looking for, hey, you got to have the right attitude?
I'm an attitude guy for the most part. I think you really have to have cohesion in the kitchen. I'm not necessarily saying you guys got to be best friends in the kitchen, but I've been in kitchens where there's been a bad egg and it's just like a cancer, man. Like everybody goes downhill from there. So I look for cohesion. As far as talent, for the most part, you can teach people, so I'm not super worried. If you've got a little experience, it's better than none. But,
yeah.
It just depends on where you're working, really.
Absolutely. When you're trying to put together a cohesive team, the success of the team comes down to the culture that you establish up front. When someone new walks in, they know, like, hey, we all pull for each other. We all win when we all win. All that kind of stuff's super important. Have you had someone that you've passed on and they were like super talented, had a bunch of experience, but you were like, hey, they come in, we're going to lose this culture thing?
So the whole process of me trying to find my replacement at Local Pint, so we've had some super experienced chefs, and you'll interview them, and after the interview, you're just like, oh my God, that dude's got a massive fucking ego. You know,
sure,
doesn't want to do like the hard work. They just, they don't want to roll up their sleeves. Pretty much everywhere I've ever worked as a chef, we've worked the line, we've prepped, we've done all that work. But some of these guys have been pretty spoiled where they just write the menus and stir the pot a couple times. They don't have to really wash dishes or do any of that shit. So
yeah, is the chef fraternity / sorority a pretty small one around here? I mean, do people get a reputation and know about each other? Or
I mean, especially in the Dallas area, I think everybody really knows each other. They really rally around each other too. Like Dallas is a very supportive community as far as chefs and service industry goes.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that hurt me was leaving Dallas to move into the suburbs, because I really enjoyed the Dallas culture, like as far as chefs go. And I think the suburbs, it's getting better, but it's not quite where Dallas is as far as all those chefs go and all being buddy and friends and stuff.
Got you. That makes sense. From the entrepreneurship side, you see some super successful restaurateurs who come from the chef side, like the cat who owns Neighborhood Services, and what's his steak place downtown called? Hearth Home or something like that? Hearthstone?
No, Town Hearth.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the regions in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But he was pretty successful.
Yeah, for sure.
And really concentrating on like making that menu badass and stuff. What sets those guys, besides maybe they had the ability to raise the capital, what sets them apart from your everyday fledgling, hey, we're just trying to get the wheels of this plane off the ground, to, hey, I got Bob's Steak and Chop House.
Yeah.
I got 50 locations or whatever.
I think it comes down to experience and then organization. I mean, you can definitely tell a chef that's been in the game for a long time because they're super organized, especially when they have multiple locations. Like right now, I couldn't even imagine having more than one location. This is my first restaurant, so I'm just, heads all over the place. But these guys, they're constantly taking phone calls, text messages, but they're super organized. And they've got chefs working below them that are super organized. Like, I think that's the key to their game for sure. That makes sense. The systems and processes that you have to put in place when you start growing. Yeah.
You put them in place, they help, and then you're always coming back and like fine tuning them. And that's one part of running a team where everyone is always trying to get better. That's cool, because I've had people on my team before. We change or we tweak a system or a process. Oh, you're always changing everything.
Yeah.
You goddamn right we are, man. It's called trying to get better, man.
For sure.
You don't ever change your workout in the gym, brother? Like, come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Of course we change it.
You're always evolving, man.
And if you're not, what's the point? Like, to me, it's like, what's the point? I had a guy on here who was a big-time oil and gas guy who's getting out of that and getting into the automated car wash business. And he said entrepreneurs are artists. You can make your business anything you want it to be.
For sure.
If you want it to be super rigid, you can make it that. If you want to make it something where, hey, we all pull for each other, you can make it that. And I always take everything back to sports.
Yeah.
But has putting those systems and processes in place been kind of a challenge for this first go around? Just because you're doing everything from getting the location up and like the physical building to where it'll work for you, and you went through you looked at a couple places or several before you found this one.
This has been a 2.5 year process, maybe even 3, since my wife and I first talked about it. And like we looked forever, because we're being very particular in what we want. We have a big vision. I don't want to be another one of these strip center, Italian restaurants. Nothing against that. Like, everybody's doing a great job that are in these strip centers, but there's just so many of them. So we were like,
but are they? Is there still a Giuseppe's downtown in Denton?
Yeah.
All right. So do you guys work together? You and your old lady?
Not really.
But you're definitely bouncing ideas off
for
each
sure.
other.
Oh yeah,
stuff?
she's man, she's been a savior. She's kind of doing like the decorating
Cool.
aspect, and she's helping me with that. She's kind of wheeling me in because I have these massive ideas, and she's like, let's take baby steps on some of this stuff. But no, she's been huge. Her background, she got her degree in photojournalism and her master's in photojournalism, and she works for a mortgage company in marketing right now. And so she's really helped out with like the whole social media. She's doing the website right now. Good
at making things look a certain way.
Yeah.
That's super valuable.
Yeah. She's been huge with that. So she's definitely, when I'm venting, she's really handled that well too.
Yeah. A good listener.
Yeah.
Isn't it when you are talking about work stuff with your significant other, it's always about just listening and not trying to solve.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to solve this right fucking now.
Yeah, I think that's why she doesn't vent to me much about her work, because I'd be like, fucking fire that person. Like,
or let's go find them right now and I'll beat their ass. Yeah. I've done that before.
Smash their camera.
Yeah, I've done that before. Had somebody tell somebody who was a significant other, some stuff. So I went down to the place of business and said, "Hey, let's I'd like to have a conversation out here on the sidewalk." So that rugby just puts that fearlessness into you. You're like, yeah, man, I what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's cool, though, to build something with a significant other because it can bring you together, but it's a major challenge, too.
Yeah, I think that's why, we had originally talked about maybe doing it together where she would be working there full-time, and I think we just kind of knew that we needed that separation between work and us,
Sure.
And she's got a really good job right now, so we just, we kind of decided, let's just keep that separation for right now.
Yeah.
But she'll still be there whenever we need her,
Yeah.
Like she's definitely hardcore about this. So
that's cool.
She's very excited.
Did you identify early on in your chef career like mentors or people, maybe they didn't know they were your mentor, but you watched what they did and you're like, oh, that was good? Or I've even had Phil Pickle Juice said he had a guy who was like his anti-mentor. He did everything opposite of what this dude did because he was failing and so horrible. He's like, if I do everything opposite, I'm going to be on the right track. Did you have people like that, or do you track people down, or you're like, hey, I like what you're doing, I want to meet you for coffee or anything like that?
I've definitely had chefs that I've worked for that, have been kind of like a mentor that I've learned a lot from. Chef John from Italian Culinary Institute, he was super cool dude. Like, no bullshit. He'll tell you how it is, and I kind of like that about him. Brian Lusher at the Grape, Sarah from the Grape, taught me tons. Definitely taught me the importance of teamwork and all that stuff. So,
the restaurant industry, though, seems like it takes its toll on people, right? Because it just got to the point at the Grape where they were just like, hey, we want to try something else now. And Steve Fields, Steve Fields over there in Plano, Steve Fields Steak and Lobster Lounge. He came from True Luck, started Steve Fields, was probably the best prime rib in all DFW was his. And he just decided, I think I'm done, and that's a Capital One bank now over there on Park. Is it just because it's just this relentless, we start over from ground zero every morning, Groundhog Day type thing?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. It's over and over and over again. And I think I don't know exactly why Brian decided to close the Grape. I didn't hear that story. But I know a lot of these places, it's just the burnout factor, where you're, 7-8 years down the road, and you're just like, going back to what I was saying, I'm constantly looking for a dishwasher, it's never ending, and then if you're in a building that starts falling apart and stuff like that, you're like, do we move locations and start this all over again? Or do we just, take some time off, spend time with family, stuff like that?
Sure. You've wanted to start your own thing for a while, even before 2 years ago, though, because you and I have talked about it a few times. Now that you're doing it, what's been maybe the biggest eye opener to this, opening world of entrepreneurship to you? Like the biggest, like, whoa, I didn't expect this to be the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, is putting together a business plan
That was
a tough deal?
No, I mean, I kind of knew for the most part. I've talked to a lot of people, and they kind of gave me a heads up on the whole shebang. I think I'm growing impatient in the whole. You're constantly waiting on somebody, like whether it be the city, whether it be TBC, whether you're waiting on workers, engineers, contractors, stuff like that. But you're always waiting on someone, and in a perfect world, sign the lease, be open in 30 days. Obviously, that'll never happen, but that would. Right now, I want to be in the kitchen. I'm rearing to go, and you're just constantly waiting on somebody or something or stuff like that. That's definitely been the biggest eye opener for sure.
Yeah. Can you see yourself once you get this one rolling, graduating to where you're going to have several locations and you're going to float between them type thing?
That's one of the things that my wife always says, baby steps, let's pump the brakes.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever...
Gotta have a vision, though.
Yeah, I don't think we'd ever do another location like this, per se, just because I think when you're doing stuff like fresh pasta, fresh bread, salami all made in-house, it takes certain staff to be able to pull that off. And it kind of just, it takes the charm out of it if you're opening multiple locations. But we have talked about like opening different concepts possibly later down the road and stuff like that. And, we've kind of talked about, like one of my passions is baking bread and stuff like that and pastries. So we've kind of talked about maybe later down the road opening something like that, like an Italian pastry bread place.
Badass.
Stuff like that. So
any gluten-free options?
No,
at the new?
Definitely not.
What do people in Italy with like celiac disorder do?
You get deported.
Yeah. Straight across to
I don't
Morocco
think you can be. I think it's in their genetics. I think it's in their genetics. You can't be.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's all the years and years of olive oil, because olive oil is really good for you.
For sure.
Lots of Italians drink olive oil out of a shot glass every day. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I've tried that for a month or two. I was like, this is interesting.
Heard it helps the poops.
Does it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You've done it.
Yeah, I have. It's supposed to be really good for you. I don't know. I try
definitely good fats.
I try all sorts of stuff that's supposed to be good for you. I think the problem is the ice cream.
Yeah,
always outweighs. It's
no pun intended.
Yeah, for real.
I'm a big ice cream guy too.
My God, yeah. I stay away as long as possible. There's a place by my house that will deliver.
Bro,
like within like 7 minutes for like $2 of a tip, and they know my name. Yeah, you can't imagine.
We moved into the vicinity of a Ben & Jerry's scoop shop, which was bad because they also deliver.
Yeah, so. They always have peanut butter options though. This place like cycles out of peanut butter. Something's got to have peanut butter in it. If it's not, that's not on your menu. I got a real problem with your menu, with your taste coordinator.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Always got to have a little bit of peanut butter somewhere involved in there to keep the big Jess engaged. The vision thing that I talked about earlier. Do you have like a vision board? Have you written down goals, or are you, because everyone's a little different. I don't really write goals down. I just get up and go as hard as I can and then fall on my face at night and get up and do it again.
Man, that sounds like my wife, like vision board. She wants me to write a bunch of stuff down, but I'm kind of, I'm very ADD, scatterbrained.
Speak it into existence, bro. Yeah.
I mean, I have little things written down, like definitely like daily stuff, like what I'm doing for the restaurant, like this needs to get done at this certain time and stuff like that. But as far as like long-term goals, I mean, not really, other than we're shooting for a certain date to open the restaurant, which I don't think that's going to happen, but you live and learn.
Yeah. When you're running your own thing, it's kind of addicting because you're like, whoa, I really do control my own destiny here.
Yeah.
The harder I work, the luckier I get. Has it been a challenge for you to carve out that time that you need for yourself that's away from the business building so that you can try to stay balanced and healthy and all of those things? Has that been a challenge?
Yeah, I don't think I've really had that opportunity yet because I am still full-time at Local Pint.
Yeah, so you're doing 2 hustles.
Yeah. So once, we did, knock on wood, find somebody to step in and run that kitchen. He just started. But hopefully, within the next month or two, I'll kind of be phased out over there where I can really spend time just on the new restaurant and then kind of focusing on myself as well as the old family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you guys got to start a family soon or it'll be too late.
Yeah. Might already be too late.
We're not getting any younger over here. I
feel like you've been talking to my wife a lot lately
I
between
haven't.
this and the vision board.
What's up, Des? What's going on? No, I hear about vision boards a lot too, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, and I could use that time to actually work.
For sure.
So I'm going to do that instead.
Yeah.
I do like to write things down though and keep them on my dashboard. I'm a big list guy. I've usually got a running list on my hand at any given time. Is that a thing for you? Are you always coming up with ideas like, ooh, we got to try this at some point?
Man, I'm a big guest check guy because they're always around the restaurant, and I write a lot of shit down on the guest checks, whether it's recipes or, what I need to do or orders. At a given time, I'll have 3 or 4 guest checks just hanging in the kitchen of just random shit, and the cooks are always like, do you need to keep these? And I'll look at them and be like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm really bad about doing recipes and not naming the recipe. So I kind of got to look at what the ingredients are and kind of decipher what it is. I don't know why I do that, but it's just a really bad habit.
You should start crowdsourcing your recipe names. Just like, hey, read this list of ingredients. What should I call it?
Yeah.
That's what you should. I want to see some of the Rugby answers on there. To be in the restaurant business and the service industry, you have to like people.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's
how's that work?
So before, when I was bartending, I had a little assistance with alcohol that made it a lot easier. Not that I was an alcoholic, but sometimes you needed that a little boost to be able to deal with people, get on their level.
Drunk sorority girls that's a new level. Yeah.
But man, I think that's kind of the reason I said I wanted to move to the back of the house, because I really didn't have to deal with people face to face a lot. And I mean, that sounds like a total dick move, but I'm not like. I come off really dry and not personable, but if I don't have anything to say, I'm not just going to strike up a conversation and do small talk,
Yeah, it's that northern blood,
Yeah.
man. I mean, the people from down here that are from down here, we go out there and talk about that fence.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about the weather. I can tell you what the weather is going to be like for the next 2 months.
Should we talk about the weather and Biden and COVID and traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it now. I understand. I see what you mean. So my sister, she will socialize with. She loves that. Mm-hmm. She has regulars. They all love her. All that kind of stuff. And I'm just always like, I don't think I can do that, man.
Yeah, I can turn it on when I need to, but it's just not.
Turn on the charm.
Yeah, it's not something I strive to do on a daily basis.
But you love your people who work for you.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they know. Because anyone who's your friend knows, when you care about them.
Yeah, for sure. I can't tell you how many new employees that come and work for me are like, we'll go and talk to another cook and be like, man, like Scott's kind of a dick. He never smiles and never really talks. And they're like, no, it's just how he is. Like,
yeah.
You're doing a good job if he's not yelling at you.
There you go.
Not that I'm a yeller, but.
Yeah. Yeah, having your people know that you care about them and you have their back too, because I'm sure that you get hey, I want the manager out here. I'm sure that's happened in your career before, and you got to go out and listen to some soccer mom tell you how bad the waitress was.
We're pretty good about the front of the house managers taking that
nice.
one. Yeah, I don't really have to really deal with the customers' complaints as much, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a food allergy and I accidentally slipped a peanut in their food.
Right.
But other than that, I haven't killed anybody yet, so we're good.
Back to the gluten thing. Have all of these dietary restrictions and everything that's become such a fad in the last, 10 years? Maybe 5, really, that it's become like this acute thing everywhere. It's it's a very big thing. Is that just a Is it just annoying?
It's not annoying. I mean, there are people that they can't do anything about it, but then there's these clowns that come in and, they say they have dietary restrictions like gluten-free, but they're doing it because it's for a diet. And I'm just like, man, like you're giving actual people with celiac a bad name because you can't eat it.
You're not gonna offer like a zoodle option.
No, I'm probably
not gonna do
hard
that.
pass on the zoodle.
Like
I love me some zoodles, but
like at North Italia.
Yeah.
The what is that? The the green garlic chicken with the vegetable noodles. Yeah, I mean, hey.
We'll definitely. We've actually talked about that because we're gonna have 3 entrees, but one of them will be vegetarian. So we will appease to the vegetarian vegan crowd a little bit.
It's very, very
if
kind of you.
If they can get past the salami hanging in the walkway when you walk in.
That might gross them out or offend them, since it seems to cut both ways.
The whole prosciutto, the whole leg just hanging.
Yeah. Maybe you should get a big caricature of yourself carrying that out of the freezer.
I think I could probably make that happen.
Paint that on the wall, and that would scare people off. Yeah, where would we be without animal-based protein? I mean, I just don't even. I don't know.
I wouldn't be open. That's the whole part of my restaurant.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how people do it.
I mean, the second the vegetarian barbecue restaurant opens up, I'm hanging them up. I'm done.
Well, they might if they're making hamburgers out of like.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're doing it with like a laser printer. They print you out a hamburger, and you're like, "What's that made out of?" Well, I don't even know really.
My wife's actually a vegetarian.
Really?
Yeah. For the most part, sometimes, like when we go on vacation and stuff, she'll eat meat. But
hey, man,
it's a difficult road.
A lot of people swear by that. Tony Gonzalez, the tight end for the Chiefs and the Falcons, he's all plant-based.
Mark Wahlberg, I heard, is too.
Is he really?
Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Your role model in life, little Mike Wahlberg.
Good vibrations.
Yeah, bro. The fighter. Yeah. Everybody loves Mark Wahlberg, don't they? Fear.
I like his brother more.
Donnie?
Old Don.
Married to Jenny McCarthy?
Yeah.
Doing something
new kid
right
on the block.
Or wrong? Yeah, is that a talented family? Is that a talented family? Yeah. It's a rich family.
We've got the other one that's got his own TV show. He owns a burger place.
Yeah, they got the
Wahlburgers.
The Wahlburgers. Yeah.
He looks like he was adopted though. He's like the dorky one out of the two.
That's saying something too. Sorry, Wahlbergs. Never mind. Y'all are doing.
They're definitely not listening.
Absolutely not. Y'all are crushing it at life, and for that we congratulate you. The traveling abroad stuff, are you going to keep doing that once everything opens back up?
Man,
you get this business rolling, it's going to be pretty involved.
That kind of hurt with COVID. We were planning on going back to Italy, and then COVID happened. And then we were like, well, let's rebook for the fall because hopefully it's kind of passed over. That didn't happen.
Hey, at least you guys were already married.
True.
When COVID happened.
True. Very true. And then we were supposed to go back again next week, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but they're still closed off to the U.S. So we were going to go to Thailand when we couldn't go to Italy, and that got we had so many trips because we knew this restaurant thing was going to happen sooner or later. So we were trying to get in and maybe trying to start a family. So we were trying to get in some good vacays before, but yeah, traveling, man.
Yeah, I mean this whole year's been year and a couple months it's been otherworldly. Mm-hmm. I mean the challenges. Did you guys have supply chain issues getting goods?
Not really. There were a couple times where there was like shortages and stuff like that, but never lasted longer than a week or two.
Yeah.
So
mostly just to practice rolling with the punches.
I mean, I know you guys are dealing with lumber issues crazy.
It's insane, man. Concrete, steel is it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a couple of new construction jobs where we're working under a general contractor, and I don't think the general contractor saw this coming. Mm-hmm. And, we're like, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But if this goes up, you're going to have to pay for it. I mean, we don't work for free.
For sure.
You know? Yeah, it's a tough deal. Talk about the local sourcing through all these farms. You just out networking with all these local.
There's a few that we've been working with already. And then there's a couple that I've kind of been talking to as well. It's going to be a little more difficult because a lot of the farms that we've been talking about are further south, like even past Dallas. And I don't know how the schematics are going to be of them traveling out to Denton, or I may have to meet them like halfway. So I'm trying to find more farms north of us where it'll be easier to get stuff.
Sure.
You know, which has actually become quite an issue.
Really?
So
I had some grass-fed protein suppliers on several months ago, and they were talking about finding packagers.
Yeah.
Is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And they could fill 10 times the orders that they're filling because everyone's like, hey, FedEx that $200 protein box to my house with 30 meals in it or whatever, but they can't get it processed.
Yeah.
They can't get their animals processed. And it's just been has this year taught you anything about adversity, and what was your approach to adversity, and what has it been ever since? Have you always just been like, whatevs, let's go? Are you an inspirational quotes type guy, or are you just kind of you got that northern persuasion of we're just put your face into the wind and just
roll with the
grind
punches?
it out?
Yeah, that's kind of been really, that can be only everybody's motto. I mean, this whole year has been such a curveball.
It's not everybody's motto, man. There are so many crumblers out here. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been one of those things that just take it day by day. And, I'm not really an inspirational. I'm not up there like Rudy Rudiger, like giving a speech on the chair,
Is Rudy that inspirational?
I don't know. It was a little inspirational.
Was it?
It's one of Sean Astin's best pieces of work.
Prior to Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Pieces of work.
I kind of, I'll say something motivational-ish, but kind of if it's like shit and a shit attitude, I'll try and make a joke and get everybody riled up with that. But other than that, it's just take it day by day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are the options,
Yeah.
And when you actually put a, stake in the ground and go, I'm going to start something of my own here, there's no turning back. No. Especially once you tell social media about it. Because what are people going to think if you're like, this got too hard? It just got too hot. It got too hot in the kitchen, pardon the pun.
Trust me, 2 weeks ago I already thought about it.
Did you?
No.
Well, hey, there is something to be said for pivoting.
Yeah.
But, quitting is not for guys like us, When you were realizing that this college thing, I'm going to go in a different direction, was that just a switching of gears for you? Or did it bum you out?
It bummed me out a little bit.
Because what did you want to study?
Man, I was planning on doing marketing or accounting at first, but it didn't really bum me out because it's not that I couldn't handle it from a smarts standpoint. It's just I couldn't sit there, couldn't sit still, for so long, and I always have to be moving. I've got terrible ADD and stuff like that. So I guess it kind of bummed me out because that was more like the norm, especially for my family, is go to college, get a job, get a stable job, because there's so many uncertainties in restaurant business, I think that was, my parents' fear when I talked to them about it the first time.
Sure.
Was, they're like, you're going to be working more than 40 hours. This isn't going to be a 9 to 5, which, I was well aware of, but they were just worried about the whole grind and the toll it takes,
Well, yeah, and you pair up the restaurant industry with now being a restaurant entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a kind of a double-barreled shotgun, double whammy there.
I've got a pretty good support system, though.
Yeah.
My parents have been awesome about it. Not that I needed their permission, but they've been super supportive about it. My wife, super supportive. Jeff, Anna, and Philly from Local Pint, extremely supportive. So I've definitely got places to lean if I need to lean.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Growing up, did you watch your dad and he was just a super hard worker? Nothing fazed him?
Grinder, man.
Yeah.
Like he was always in operations. You know, he was the hard ass. You know, he was the hammer.
Gotta have one of those guys.
So,
yeah.
But, you know, he had a mustache too. It was pretty intimidating.
Awesome.
I think
Was he a North Stars fan?
Not really. But he just, you know, I think he had the mustache just for that job, just so he could go in and he gets mad and it just kind of shakes a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it a Ron Swanson
It was a pretty good one.
mustache?
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that you've traveled in the world that's prettier than the Upper Peninsula?
I mean,
Parts of Italy?
yeah, parts of Italy, there's just different pretty,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like,
There's some shots in that 000 that are pretty incredible.
yeah, I mean, I've told my wife, you know, we're ready to retire. We're moving to Bologna or Modena or somewhere in middle Italy, you know, just so green and lush and
Yeah.
people are awesome, food's awesome. But I mean, I'd go to the north of Michigan too.
Yeah.
My folks live right outside Traverse City, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the water. You see the bottom 10 feet down.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's awesome. Did you grow up ice fishing?
Never really got into ice fishing,
Yeah.
but we were always playing hockey on the pond and
Right.
stuff like that.
The hockey thing, do you still throw the skates on every once in a while?
I haven't played in a couple of years.
Yeah. Getting out there with Cutter, throwing body checks and stuff, man.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I rode the beer league glory, won a couple titles, and
Titles.
had to hang them when I was on top of my game.
You got some rings?
Yeah.
Do you wear them out? You're just like,
I try not to.
back in the day.
Too many questions.
I got you. If people want to find you guys on social media and follow your progress so that they can start
We're there.
planning, how do they find you on social?
The restaurant name is Osteria Moro. It's Osteria Ilmuro.
What does that mean?
So Osteria is, it's like a small little rustic restaurant in Italian. Moro is actually my mom's maiden name, and her family came from Sicily. So we kind of just use that, give it a little backstory.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And if people want to patronize the local pint, because you've been shouting them out pretty, and know you're a partner there, how can they find that?
Local pint.
Just local pint?
Just look it up.
Just look it up.
Probably the best social media in all of Texas.
And when you start selling your like your chef consulting services, because now you can market yourself as a startup guy. Like, you want to start a restaurant? I did it, and here's my kit. How can people get a hold of you for that?
I don't know if we're ready for that one yet.
I think we should get you rolling on that.
You can just look me up at Scott Girling, Girling.
Right on.
I may not accept your friend request though.
May not. You have to buy a meal from you
Yeah.
to get your friend request accepted. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
it was fun.
you. Absolutely. That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
You're a natural.
Totally.
See, we can get you to smile. Just takes a little work. Well, that was great. Always a good time chopping it up with an old rugby buddy, and I'm glad Scott's doing so well. Check out his restaurant. I know it's going to be awesome when it opens, and I'll be updating my social media when he opens it as well. Hopefully he can open sooner rather than later, but we talked a lot about rolling with the punches there, and that's what we're doing in business these days. Hey, I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. If you wouldn't mind dropping a comment below, read all the comments, and you can also reach out to me anytime on social media. My Instagram is @JessFromTheNorthwest, or if you'd like to work together, email me anytime live at autographconstruction.com, and we'll see you next time.